everyone. Welcome into South Philly Sauce, an Audacy original presented by Jack Daniels and 94 WIP. And this is not my co-host, Al Morgani. Al is having surgery this week. I just talked to him this morning. He is good. So we are giving our Jack Daniels salute to Garnet Hathaway, who is nice enough to join us on Morning Skate. And we were just talking, you're somewhat new to Philly, coming in the summer. How has it been going? Just the transition?
It's been great. I got here at the end of August. So it's been a lot, I'm still trying to get my bearings around, best grocery store to go to, what times to go, when town is really busy, how to get to the game rink the best way. I map everything. I get in the car and I'll map it and make sure that I'm on the right path.
Yep.
But yeah, it's been great. Everyone's been really nice.
I don't think you're ever so I moved here in December and I still map everything. And people make fun of me, and I get more lost, funny enough, walking through the city than driving. I'll go the wrong direction and it takes 10 minutes to turn back around. And it's so frustrating.
That makes sense. Honestly, I haven't spent a lot of time in Philly. I'm in New Jersey right now.
Okay.
So kind of closer to the practice rink where we are now. So it's been nice. I'm pretty suburban, which is a big change. When I was in Boston, it was kind of fast-paced right in the city. And then I lived in Arlington, Virginia when I was in Washington.
Okay.
And a little quieter than downtown, but
I
mapped everything when I was there because you never knew when there was like a presidential motorcade or something going on. So I'm familiar. I'm not too shy about saying that I Google Maps everything.
I love it. And I think with you guys as athletes, I think you see that you move so much in your career and you're part of that right now. But I think people lose sight of our normal human who also is up moving his life and getting used to things. Do you feel like people lose sight of that? And is that kind of difficult to just move to a new city and get started with this? It's
hard to say what people may think or, but they don't tell you that when you sign up to play in the league sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's the last, probably 8 months or so have been, a lot of moving. My wife, my 2 kids, our dog, things have kind of been up and out, especially with the trade when I was going to Boston. That happened really quickly. This summer was a little more time to figure out how to do the move, where we're going to live. And then right when you get there, it's, it felt like we were in Boston for a really short time. And then when I got here, it's, I've been here for almost like 2 months, and I've been able to settle in and it already feels a lot like home.
And all wife and kids are here with you?
Yeah, they're here.
Nice.
Yeah.
So started school and all that madness?
Yeah, I have a 2.5-year-old and then a almost 1-year-old. So
nice.
We're getting around. There's a lot of kids in the neighborhood where I live. So trying to figure out how to just get them interacting with kids, running around, avoiding the street, but suburban life, it's pretty quiet. So it's been great to us so far.
Nice. And when you came in August, what did you think of this Flyers team? And maybe how has that impression changed now a couple months into it?
Yeah, I think even before July, when I looked at this team, it was one that you hated playing against. You look at the coaching staff and how they've, Torts' track record of how hard those teams are to play against. Going into every game with that same mentality that no one's going to outwork you in that game. You know that for sure. So they were always easy games to get up for because you knew if you weren't prepared, it was going to be really, really difficult. So it's looking at this team, it's a younger team that has that energy, but also that work ethic that when guys are clicking, it's going to be, you have a chance to win every night. And so that was really exciting. And seeing a group that was willing to put in that hard work, knowing what it was going to take to say, hey, we may be saying we're in a rebuild or in the middle of one, but if you get everyone committed, to doing that effort, putting in that effort and the skill that we have here, and the character guys as well, and you add all that together, you're going to be successful. And every guy in that room is competitive, and you hope it comes and wins. But it's a long process, it's a long year. So you're right where we are, 2-1 now. I think we can. It's like, hey, well, why not? We can just keep winning. It'd be great, and that'll help develop guys. But I think we have what it takes to do that.
And you talk about the young guys, and I'm sure the outsiders look at this team and go, "Oh my gosh, they're so young; they have no chance." But I was talking to Travis Konechny. He's like, "No, you have no idea what these young guys are capable of." And he said he didn't even realize it really until training camp to see these young guys taking major steps.
Yeah, and that's probably, for TK to be able to see how guys have trained over the summer and how they've come back in with not only the experience of that, but the confidence maybe. And that comes with the work ethic. Like they're saying, hey, I want to be better than I was last year. I want this year to go better. And when you get a group of guys collectively doing that, you're going to see the improvement over the summer, but then throughout the season too. You're seeing a group that wants to get better each day. And that's pretty dangerous when you put the work in too. So it's exciting, and that's one thing that I was really attracted to coming here.
And you talk about the Flyers being tough to play against, and that was so last year, even with the up and downs. Do you think that comes straight from Torts, or where does that come from? Because that seems so consistent no matter the record.
It probably comes from a few things. Deep, it probably comes from the fan base and the history of this organization, and that I don't think. It doesn't slip by anyone when they put on the jersey. You look at the guy next to you and you realize what that jersey means. And you hear the fans, and it's not just in our arena, but every stadium in that little area. People are very passionate in this area about their sports. And for us to have a chance to change that momentum in the city, see that excitement, it probably starts there. Torts has a big impact on that as well. And then I would say the leadership in this organization. I mean, you look at guys like I was looking at. It's funny. When I was walking upstairs from the locker room, which is downstairs, I was walking with Lots, and there was all these team photos. And I think I looked at a handful of them in the last few. It's like Coots is in every one of them. Lots is in half of them. Like TK's in a bunch. It's just you see those guys who have been around, and it wasn't long ago that this team was in the playoffs,
right?
And was always hard to play against. And those guys were there, and I think that it carries over. And those guys bring a lot of what we're going to need to learn from in order to be successful.
Right, and you've been in the NHL a while, 10 years, I believe. This is your 10th year. And everyone talks about, when you're in a rebuild, my gosh, it takes so long. You have to have patience. But a lot of guys have said, no, look at the Islanders, for example. It doesn't have to take as long as people think. And it seems like this is speeding up maybe quicker than the agenda.
I think it's really hard for players to put in that rebuild state just because everyone's so competitive. But there's something happening in the league now where you can see organizations getting younger and creating momentum and building off of that, and maybe being more successful than they thought they would have. I think you look at the Devils as one team. It's like I think they had maybe the biggest jump point wise between 2 years. It's like, why can't teams do that? Why is that not more common? And teams learn from that too. They say, well, what pieces did that worked for that? Did they bring veterans in that know maybe what it takes to get there, how to change, and how do you build that culture, the coaching staff, the leadership, and young guys with that work ethic.
And you being a veteran presence in this room, do you find young guys kind of drifting your direction or asking questions, or do you feel like you're that veteran presence that was needed here maybe?
I hope so. I really do. And that was a big part of in July when I wanted to come here, and I'm glad it was a mutual decision. I felt wanted, but I also wanted to be here, and I've been really fortunate enough to play with unbelievable leaders, and even my last 8 months have been filled with that, and stuff that I'm trying to figure out. How do they do that? Like, what were they so good at? Why do people gravitate towards a Bergeron? Like, what does he do that's so well that people say, hey, that's the way to do it? How does he carry himself that way? And so, the season, it's young. You forget that coming here at the end of August, I had a month of camp or a month of pre-camp and then camp. And then, we're 3 games in, and I think we could look back next week and talk about what, the difference. Has anything changed? What's been going on? And so I think every day I'm trying to learn and figure out, learn tendencies for guys, find what motivates certain guys. see how guys interact with veteran guys, with young guys. When things go well, how do guys react when things are poor? Like, what happens? And I think that's what I tried to pick up on when I was watching leaders. It's like, hey, they don't waver very much in their emotions, in the sense where they can't get too high or too low, and that takes a lot of work and a lot of effort and a lot of consciousness to be like, hey, I can't do this because it might affect someone else. I can't do this because someone is relying on me to be the leader for them to follow. And it's every team dynamic is different. And so I think right now we're a young team that's trying to find out what our identity is and what works for us.
That's so interesting. I never thought of how you have to force your emotions to kind of be even keel when people are looking up to you. And I imagine in hockey, that's fine outside of the rink and the ice, but when you get on that ice, that's got to be really hard.
There's a fine line. I won't lie. There's a fine line for, you have to be emotionally into the game. You have to be, and that's one thing that I wouldn't say it takes me a long time to get revved up for a game or realize the intensity that I need to play with. But in hockey especially, I think the thing we're probably most grateful for or something, it's like we play almost every other night. So when things are bad, you can flip it around and you can say, hey, I didn't like my game last game. I wasn't good enough. I need to be better tomorrow. And it's a completely fresh slate. Nothing carries over. And so I think once you are able to put games behind you, things that you have to learn from the moments that are really great, and then say, hey, I can't rest on those laurels, and say, hey, it doesn't matter. Oh, that'll be great again. Once you figure out that, either way, it can go. Once you take your foot off the gas, it can go the wrong way really quickly. And once you think things are worse than they are, it goes the same way. It kind of quicksand almost. And so, watching people who are a little more even keel in the big picture scheme, I think they tend to be really good leaders. That's what I've noticed.
Interesting. And you got the Phillies hat on. You understood the assignments. Knew to Philly.
I knew it was on video. No.
Yeah, exactly. Has it surprised? I'm sure you knew about Philly fans coming here. Was it more than you thought?
I mean, I definitely heard Philly fans when I was playing here. So, and not in the nicest way. They've been incredible. And it's been really fun. It's wild that there's the arena and two stadiums right next to each other.
So cool.
And even the other night on our home opener, it was, I don't know what, 140,000 fans or something ridiculous. Too many for that area, but I wasn't surprised. Right? Like that's Philly in a nutshell. And super passionate. And we have the teams to go along with it. Eagles, Phillies, it's exciting time. And I know the guys in our room are so excited about that momentum, that excitement, it's contagious. And we want to be part of it.
And it's funny that the dog mask post-win, definitely an Eagles thing. Do you know how that started, or you saw them and you're like, what the world's this? Why do you have a dog mask on? I watched the Kelsey documentary.
That's amazing. And it's amazing.
Yes.
It really is. And it's just
electric.
What is it? It's Hungry Dogs Run
Faster.
So and that is
so true.
It's so true.
Yep.
And lots. I hope it catches on, and I hope maybe Jason hears it or something. But it's lots the other day. He was like, "Hungry Dogs skate faster," and it was just. I mean, I laughed, but I was like, it fits. And I think that's what we're trying to buy into. It's that work ethic. It's that city behind us. It's that just trying to be excited, trying to win games, and just trying to go out every night with that energy, with that intensity that we talked about.
Who's impressed you so far? I mean, is there anyone that's been like, oh my gosh, he's surprised me so much?
There's a lot of guys, and it's probably playing against these guys. It was one of those things where it's like you're really good, but I think I'll probably take the easy way out and say Coots, because for what he's gone through in the last 2 years and playing against him before that, and how nice it was to not have to play against him for a couple of years. I've been trying to figure it out, like kind of articulate in a way, but like, how is this guy like this?
Yeah.
And it's that even keel. He's steady.
Yeah.
And that is not a remark about like how he skates or how he plays. Like, it's consistent. It doesn't waver. And it's always at a high caliber. And it's the way he carries himself too. He is very, very down to earth.
Normal dude,
but like, and really aware of his surroundings. I think I've noticed too, there's a couple guys I've played with who are really good listeners. And they understand dynamics really well. And I want to say maybe that's what I've noticed with Coots is like, he knows what's going on, whether it's on the ice or off the ice. Like it's, and then just to know what he's been through. And I think, our locker room, our bench was screaming last game, like when he scored. It was not only with the move, the penalty shot, but just probably what it meant.
Moment.
And I really hope he knows how excited we are for him.
And that shot it's funny, my Al Morgani, who's my analyst and the co-host of this podcast, he called it the tush push hockey style. And then Nick Delory was telling me, oh no, like we knew that was coming. He's been practicing it. Like, did you know it was going to be a success?
Someone next to me, literally, I hate to give him credit, but I think it was TK. And I think TK goes, I was going to go backwards and go to his forehand. I was like, okay, sure enough. Like, I mean, it was like posting in. It was the perfect shot. And one that, he's practiced, but he could have easily enough maybe gone to his backhand and scored two. But it was one where I think goalies will probably see it coming now. But he has an arsenal of moves that I think he'll surprise anyone.
It was so cool. And Nick Delory, of course, your line mate, that PhD line, and everyone talks about the consistency with that. With so much young on this team to have that line to count on. Has that been kind of solid for you since you've gotten here?
I think it's for as different as things can be in the scenario with playing with two new guys, a whole organization, systems. If I keep going, a lot of things and
newness,
just the newness of it. Where I live, how to get to
grocery
stores, how to get home. I don't pump my own gas. It's so bizarre.
That's so weird.
The whole thing.
The bags at the grocery store that got me.
Don't get me. It's got to be so many.
I've bought 40 bags.
I think they're hidden in my car somewhere too. My wife's car. It's like, back to the consistency. No, it's been really nice. And just creating a relationship with D'Lo and Pales and getting understanding. It takes away that guessing. That I think in my game specifically, I think you waste energy and speed when you can't anticipate and you stop and you guess. So being able to rely on the guy next to you and know that, hey, like day one in camp, I know he's going to be back checking from that position. He's going to read off me. He's going to anticipate I'm going to go. And that creates a little more, back to camp. It just creates a lot easier situation. And one that then we're comfortable when we go back to the bench. What do you like there? What do you not like there? What do you see? I probably talk too much on the bench now I think about it, but it's one of those things that going through camp and being able to play with those guys has been really nice.
Amazing. And just your overall expectations, maybe a goal for you this year.
I just want to win. Honestly. And I really, and I think I want to be able to find out what those leaders that I've been lucky enough to play with, how do you carry that over? It highlights like playing with Bergie in Boston. He always mentioned gratitude. And I think that's something I want to be able to focus on a little more. And that's winning games, but being grateful for having the chance to win them, being able to play in them, and just taking every game for that moment. And that doesn't mean slowing down at all. That doesn't, I want to play as intense as possible, and do it every single night. And and just be really grateful for it.
Amazing. Well, good luck this season.
Thanks.
And thank you so much for taking time with us.
My pleasure.
This is Garnet Hathaway, and that is South Philly Sauce, an Audacy original presented by 94 WIP and Jack Daniels. We'll see you next time.